Hi everyone, just wanted to welcome back to my channel, Heart on Fire. I wanted to take a little bit of time here, especially in June, to thank God for the gift of faith, for me to have received really my conversion and knowing that to receive Jesus, that's truly Jesus. I would run into a building. If the church is on fire, I would run in there and to rescue Jesus. And that story has happened a number of years ago in New York, and I would have done the same thing in China with a little girl under persecution. I would have been in there to make sure that the host would not be would be not. It's a secret. Really, Jesus, just like he was on the boat. So same Jesus is here with us today in the Eucharist. So I wanted to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about my testimony that was written 14 years ago. I wanted to unpack that a little bit because I did say in there for my life-changing experience, it says here, I did not have much faith in the Blessed Mother when I left San Diego and thought there might be people superstitious in their beliefs when they go to places like Fatima, Lourdes, and Guadalupe. So really, I did not have faith. So I went from a non-believer to a full believer. So what happened to me was I received the gift of faith over time. And I wanted to, again, it's a very long 8-page documentary, but really it's divided into 10 sessions. And I'm going to talk a little bit, give you a little bit of highlights. For example, my first session has to do with the life-changing. Actually, the first is introduction, give you a little bit of my why I'm writing this testimony. The second one is the life-changing experience. Just to give you the idea, I came to America from a poor country as a devout Catholic, raised in Vietnam in a small village, and really I had a tremendous upbringing where I was close to God. I went to Mass on a very regular basis, but I had something I wanted to go to America, and that's what is going on here. And give you a little bit of that background, and kind of interesting read for, especially nowadays, you hear people coming from other countries coming into this country. Again, it gives you a lot of things, just a little bit of a background, but you can see one of the devastating things was getting the news that my dad had, I was born out of wedlock, right? About a war in Vietnam, that my dad, certainly I didn't see him. He was in re-education camp. And I found out afterward that I was born out of wedlock. And but anyway, I still, so that's the kind of like a little bit of my background. And certainly I joined the Navy, you can read that. And certainly my really where I was drifting away from God. And you can see here, it says right here, I had much better luck with my social life once I put on the Navy officer's uniform. I became more confident in my ability to attract women. As I developed a taste for beautiful women, I grew further away from God. I would frequent date and have intimate relationships, engaging in premarital sex that I thought was wrong according to Catholics' belief, but oblivious to the fact that it was a mortal sin. I was thinking everyone was doing it in America, so it must be acceptable. So I wanted to make sure you all understand Satan was, this is actually also according to Sister Emmanuel, who's very close to Medjugorje, was saying that's one of the strategies, the things that that Satan would do, is just saying, hey, it's acceptable, okay? And you can see what's happening today with the kind of lifestyles, the things happening, the people born out of wedlock. And so just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of to reflect upon based on my testimony. And even, here's what I rationalized. Okay, so there was a priest who was excommunicated from a diocese, but the bishop allowed him to hold retreats for college students. It was popular among college students because he thought that premarital sex was okay. Okay, you can see what's happening in the church, allowing certain things to happen, and that would have a consequence and not stopping it. And today you can see the church in crisis a bit about blessing homosexual couples and so on. So here's what my rational thinking is, as I began to rationalize that as long as I wasn't hurting anyone, being kind and considerate of others and going to mass weekly, I would still have salvation. So that's what the devil would be putting in to you, is that it's relativism, right? Whatever you can do, you're not hurting anyone, and it's acceptable in the society. It's okay. Okay. So and then it just explained, I met my wife, and then so basically that cultural difference, right? I had my wife, and you can kind of talk a little bit about, yeah, he's a local Vietnamese priest who performed my wedding ceremony. And then he did give me a warning that my marriage would not last if my wife and I weren't kneeling each night in front of the mantle to pray the rosary. I thought he was just an old-fashioned priest. He needed to keep up with the new culture in America. So you can see, had a little bit of like the culture shock, the differences in thinking when I came to America. So I had problems with my marriage, and then basically it got worse where I went to massage places, strip clubs, okay? And then you can see that it went on, and I again kind of rationalized that, my thinking on why I was doing it. And it said, well, once I was seduced to this lifestyle, it was difficult to let go. I began to rationalize that people in high places, such as former President Clinton and former Catholic President Kennedy, had extramarital affairs. So I too began to think that God must be kind and merciful and understanding of this kind of weakness. Okay, and you can see what's happening today, the culture, the shift in thinking. I'm doing this from having 30 years in the Navy. I've been in multiple places, combat zone, and I'm looking at more like going from my regular combat time to now more of the spiritual, sharing you some of the lessons learned on what is going on, especially how this is relevant to today's world, where we are in the dangerous time, going away from God. And you can see some of the reasons why that was. And then, so what I'm going to talk next in my next video, I will talk about the private revelation, what I received from, very blessed. It will kind of shock you to see some of the things that I had. And even in myself, I could not believe it, that Blessed Mother came directly into my room. So I'll share with you next time. So with that, I really pray the rosary, okay, that saved my life. Trust in Jesus, do the Divine Mercy, and then the rosary, and that would be Ave Maria. So thanks for watching, and I'll share you on the next video. We'll talk about the private revelation. Have a good day.